Pat says he's a feral rescue. Slow typing, he's asleep. Oh, Pat, of course, we must obey our cat overlords. You cannot disturb the cat. And so even if you're holding him like this and you have to hunt and peck on your keyboard like this, you're doing the right thing. GM Vault is now the boss. Thank you very much, GM Vault. Yes, we have a new overlord. Hail GM Vault. Hail GM Vault. Delcorin is finally, like, kill me. Delcorin has been removed from the throne of Stream Boss. Their health, it started out at 200 Spillheart, and every time a new boss comes around, the health increases by 25. Just because you all get tougher and tougher and tougher. GM Vault, bow before me and bring me all the finest meats and cheeses in the land. So, geez, Delcorin. Delcorin's rule over the stream has ended in a little bit of spite. Oh, geez. All right. I'm actually going to swap the position here of the sheet we're working on and the characters because I want the attention drawn to what we're doing here. There we go. Well, Alzy. Well, you know what you could do, Alzy? You are currently in first place with bits. If you got that extra 20, you could help secure your role. Oh, jeez. You all are something else. Oh, my. All right, let's... We'll get going here. So... This is a worksheet that I've made up over the course of broadcasting. I'll talk about and KFC. You went to one of those TV KFC combo places. Well, Delcorin might have a little bit of tabaxi left in him as he left his mark on the throne. Jeez. Well, hey, look, there's fire sauce, but I don't know. There's that Diablo sauce too that's pretty good. Well, see, now it's like the throne in Game of Thrones, right? It's made from all the melted swords and everything. So what I've done is I've arranged this worksheet here. And this is one way that you can go through and compare your single character to everyone else's in a party if you're playing in a homebrew game. Or if you like doing these kind of experiments, these mental experiments, right? We've made 5 completely random characters over the course of the week. So now let's form a party character sheet. What does the party look like as an entity? That's right, GM Vault. And, you got to make sure you get one of those... It's a DX Racer throne as well. Alzy prefers Bale sauce to Diablo. So that's like super spicy, isn't it? Better loot, yeah. Yep, Spillheart, look. Earlier, I enjoy cheese and cheese, but also like salsa and chips. Oh my gosh, I had some very, very good salsa verde. It was yummy. All right, so as an example to start things out, these are some older characters that we made in a prior adventure. So we're going to go through and replace those names. But I wanted to show you how to go about making a party style character sheet. Here's our first character that we made this week. Oh, actually, I guess I was going backwards. This Boot here is actually the last character, but you know, we'll forgive this here. Judge Boot brand deck we made last night. Oh, no problem, Mike. I went through and I put the strength, you know, I put down the scores for the abilities, the saves in which the character is proficient, the alignment, and the background for the character. Then, any of the skills in which that character is proficient, I put his name next to it. Now, as we come down, there's also a couple other considerations for your party. What languages are available in your party? Well, this character started with Common and Dwarven, and due to the Sage background, ends up receiving 2 bonus languages. For purposes of our mental experiment, you know, we left this open. And if you wanted to carry through and just say, well, we have 2 slots open here, you can do that. Or, now that we have the characters set beside each other, we can consider, all right, let's look at this person. Let's consider the setting. Now, for this week's campaign, we've taken a break from Mesotopia and its outlying areas and the conflict with the Shadowheart Empire that we've been developing here in the channel over the past months now. And this is going back to just a fun, simple, you know, this is going to be a like several level romp of a campaign. No, Dark Wolf. The names are a holdover from that prior monster campaign, and we're going to be replacing them going through this exercise. So if he's used to helping out those who aren't as smart as he is, patiently explain things, knowledge, the path to power and self-improvement is through knowledge. I sold my soul for knowledge. I hope to do great deeds and win it back. Look at the personality. Look at the campaign setting. If this person became an Oath of the Ancients Paladin, could one of these languages then be Elven? Could it even be Sylvan, which is the language of the Fae? Could he speak, if he sold his soul literally, could he speak Infernal or Abyssal? Or, as a paladin, can he speak supernal, right? Or, like, you know, an angelic language? Alzi says, leaving the slots open would be the Fate approach. I'm starting to like that style more, where you let the characters build backstory on the fly. Well, and so thank you for reinforcing that, Alzi. So we know for sure, you know, he got training in Common and Dwarven. And if we were to take that approach, then we have several slots that can be filled, right? And we can even go and put in, we'll put in Boot, or Judge here. Judge Boot brand deck. So he gets those 2. Tool proficiencies. He doesn't have any, so we don't need to worry about that. And now we can come down here, and Boot is rocking a Paladin. So we have some low magic, some healing, and melee. These are basic descriptors that we can assemble together in a paragraph style and find out, you know, we can compare. Are we really heavy in ranged? Are we really heavy in melee? Are we lacking in some kind of magic or something else along those lines? Now we come back here, and so we have Melalian Gioria. We're going to call her Mel, or Mela. We have a 16 strength, a 12 dex, 8 con, a 14 int, a 12 wisdom, and a 19 charisma. Now, as we're doing this, you may notice, look, Mela Lian here is level 13, and Judge Boot is level 11. And we even went through here, and we have a level, technically a level 2 character. Here's a level 12 and another level 12. Well, these characters mostly line up, but you can say, well, how's that fair? How can we compare Omark to the other characters? Well, remember in 5th edition, your ability scores are really flat. If you're playing a half-orc paladin, you can cap your strength by level 8. And if you're going to go a full 20-level campaign, you've already become as naturally strong as you possibly can. You know, without artifacts or potions or other means. So a higher ability score isn't necessarily going to skew this party comparison, especially as we make a bunch of random characters here. And if anything else, it can show, well, the character is going to go in this direction anyway. And so we can just see, all right, so we're going to have a high con character. We're going to have a high intelligence, low wisdom character. So you can use a higher level character as a projection, even if we're going to reduce the characters back, like what we're going to do for tonight, in order to make a campaign, or like a level, like a little adventure. Considering, yeah, we'll start them at level 1 and we'll see where they grow. Yes, we've made level 12 characters, but that is perfectly fine. All right, so there's Mela's stats. Mela is, or not Mela. I do mean Mela, but we were on Omark. She is proficient in the saves of Wisdom and Charisma. So let's change this up here. Wiz and Cha. She is Chaotic Good, and her background is a charlatan. I guess that'll work. Or maybe like CLT. Well, whatever. We do the same thing now for skills. We can see that in sleight of hand here, Mela has got it. History. All right, now we have 2 characters who are good in history. Investigation. Insight. Deception. And intimidation. She can speak Common and Elven. And then if we go through what Alzi was talking about, leaving the slots open for character development, we can just put an M, and she has a language slot open here. Is she proficient with tools? Why, yes, she is. Disguise kit and a forgery kit. We can come down here, and we have... Whoops. There we go. So Mela is rocking a Warlock. I consider them to be medium magic. Maybe high magic if they were if they're a tome. If you want to consider them a high magic class, this is your comfort, your party's discernment. But so she's a medium magic, and also she is bringing some melee abilities as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She is proficient in 6 different skills, and again, this is your call. What is the threshold? You can say that she's a skilled character if your threshold is higher, and if you say, nah, only bards could, well, okay, that's fine. For me, I said, I think 6 is a good indicator that we have a skilled character on our hands. What's with the face, Ivalon? Now let's come back up to Samsei. $14, $11, $16, $14, $9 charisma. We're going to get rid of that 10. Or that 10's place. And, oh, I'm sorry. Wait, wisdom is 14. 16, 16, 14, and 9. Intelligence and wisdom. There we go. We have a lawful good character who is an outlander. How wouldn't it help examine or compare the characters together? Samsei has athletics, religion, medicine, survival, and there we go. There's our 4. Memory lapse, hello. GM Vault uses a party sheet all the time. Well, and you know, GM, if you'd ever like, if you wanted to submit a template, I'd be happy to bring it up on here, and we can explore your party sheet as well. We are going to get an instrument. Well, yeah, Ivalon, because nothing is 100% across all instances or play philosophies. This is one way that, especially with the format of how we conduct the channel and having effectively separately created characters who are all random, this is a way to coalesce and see what we've done, to pull all the characters for the week together and examine it. Now, we actually did make... Samsei was very interesting because he is a very physical... he's a very physical wizard. He can actually get up in melee, and he can take hits, too. Okay, now we come back to here to Inanna. (19 strength), 14 dex, 16 con, 14 int, 10 wisdom, and 12 charisma. Proficient in strength and con, and is chaotic neutral with a sage background, much like Boot. Whoa, Tracy, hello, welcome. Pat's an old school style here. When did you start again, Pat? And Pat, do you have a style like this? Do you enjoy seeing a party comparison like this? Spillheart, welcome back. Come back down, and we have Arcana. Inanna is in Arcana. History. Nature. And animal handling. She knows Common, and she gets 3 other languages. Now, many of the languages here, you might find to be redundant. You know, let's say that that Inanna takes Elven. Well, so you could just reduce this down and know that Elven is available in the party. Or if you really want to break things down, you can see how many instances of Elven can be spoken in the party, much like what we're doing for skill proficiencies. This is really up to you. How detailed do you want it? Do you want it like a spreadsheet, like has been suggested over here in chat? Do you want to run it in a different way or focus on different stats? And you know what, Ivalon? That's something that we can add as well. Though, somewhat in fairness, this is more like we're talking as PCs, like we're all colluding over these characters, and we're bringing our party together. You do make a good point though, because bonds and flaws and ideals are excellent campaign fodder for DMs to consider. So Nana here is rocking a Barbarian, who is definitely going to be melee. That's what she's got, and she's got it in spades. Lastly, we come up here to Omark. (10 strength), 14 dex, 14 con, 10 int, 15 wisdom, and 12 charisma, with saves in intelligence and wisdom, chaotic good, and is a charlatan. 2 sages and 2 charlatans. Memory says, just doing some adjustments and some prepping for the upcoming session on Thursday. So be lurking. Hey, that's fine, Memory. And if you hit a roadblock or you're like, oh, let me get some input, please come back and ask questions, Memory. We're here. We're accessible. Coming down here, sleight of hand goes to Omark. Insight goes to Omark. Perception. Deception. And intimidation. Common, Orcish, and Druidic are his languages. I didn't miss any. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't miss any tools. Now, he is also good in disguise kits, forgery kits, and an herbalism kit. Coffee Cat Comics, I hope I'm feeling better before tomorrow's session because I called in sick to work today. Oh, well, Coffee Cat, look, if you got some sniffles or something, I don't know if you have a product called Emergen-C out your way, but it's like a super dose of vitamin C. I think you can get it as like an effervescent tablet, or you can just sort of take it as a supplement. But, you know, blow your cold out of the water. Vitamin C, zinc, plenty of fluids. You know the rigmarole. So here's Omark. He is a druid. He did go high magic and healing, and he has wild shape, so this carries over. Kind of uncanny how the characters fit, kind of overlapping this other week's party. Now that we have this information, we can do a little bit of a bar graph. Hey, Eltreon, please tell me that Omark was created from the phrase "Oh hi, Mark," because that would be amazing. Not that. Oh shoot! This was our first character that we made on Tuesday. Did Darkwolf? Did you recommend Omark as a name for this character? Was that you? Pat says some of the mechanics on the party sheet don't work for me as I run a retro clone, usually not the new systems. The sheet still follows along the old school GM sheets. Well, is this a concept? Even if the sheet doesn't fit specifically, Pat, is this still a concept that you employ in your gaming? Alzi, vitamin C, zinc, the heart blood of a lion slain by your own hand. Yeah, the huge. Okay, gotcha, Pat. All right, as we're making this sheet here, we can see that we have no acrobatics, no stealth, and no performance. If it helps you at all, you can come through and create a visual reminder or bar graph about where the party stands in terms of its skill spread. So here, red, no one is proficient. Doesn't mean you can't roll it. You know, you can have a high dex character who's just not proficient in stealth. Now we come over to ones here like athletics, investigation, nature, animal handling, medicine, perception, survival, and persuasion. All of these, we can give a highlight of yellow. Yes, someone in the party is proficient. Should the party ever split, right? How often does that happen? Should the party ever split or that character becomes indisposed, then that means that there's no redundancy and the party is out that specialist in the skill. Now freeing up a little bit, we come over here to sleight of hand, arcana, religion, wisdom, deception, and intimidation. Here we have a backup. So if Mela is out of the party for some reason, Omark can involve himself in a sleight of hand. Okay, Darkwolf, that wasn't you. Well then, Eltreon, it seems that the lore for this name is open, as I don't remember where the name had come from. Oh, you know what? I do remember where this name came from. I'll tell you though. I'll tell you that if you want it to be Oh Hi Mark, you're welcome to it. But no, this was a name mashup of something that I saw around me. I remember that now, actually looking around my desk. All right, so here we have redundancy, so the skills are a little bit safer in case of an emergency. And now over here in history, we have 3 characters who are proficient in history. Ivlon asks, Pat, which retro clone? I love retro clones. Coffee Cat, this kind of thing is very helpful when the party actually gives you what sheets they created. Yes. Often that party never shares their sheets with the DM. You know, if you want to call, DM right on the sheets and look at it. Because as Ivalon pointed out, and that's something that we can include in future sheets over here, having a character's flaws, background, or, another background, their ideals and whatnot, as a DM, they may not want to share with each other because the players want to develop player-to-player relationships. But as a DM, you may wish to know, your players' fears or accomplishments or things along those lines, and especially something like the background feature, because most, if not all, background features necessitate DM attention in order to get information, arrange transportation, or things along those lines. So maybe that's a good weekend project for me, where I can go through and touch up this presentation a little bit and go from there. Memory says, Ivalon, what you were doing, I have pretty much done already myself. My PCs are already heading for the first main dungeon of the area / first real adventure. Had an introductory dungeon that they were in, so they have a pretty good idea of what they're in for. However, I liked where you were going with the randomly rolled town and area. Pat, basic fantasy RPG. Okay. LZ, BF RPG, and Dungeon Crawl Classics seem to be big ones. Yeah, hey, and don't forget that Free RPG Day is coming up on Saturday the 16th. Yes, right here. Saturday the 16th. Check your local game store and see if they're participating. And if they are, know that you can go out and pick up some free RPG swag. And this may even be an opportunity for you to run some games at your friendly local game store. And, I don't know, maybe earn a little store credit, a little store karma. If you want to work something out with the manager and or owner. But that's a good way to go out and help teach people different systems, or meet new people, or even take your same gaming group and just try playing a different game than what you have before. Pat says, I bought some physical copies from Lulu. I also have almost every PDF and ODT file. GM Vault uploading my party sheet to the Discord. Okay. Ivalon asks, what use is it for you to know their skills? In my opinion, and why I do this, over here, this exercise about skills, because if you can, it gives you a little bit better idea about what the party's good at doing, and so you can provide opportunities for them to shine or to challenge them in these situations. Pat says, too far of a drive for me. The nearest game store is about 50 miles away one way. Oh. So, yeah, that'd be an afternoon. So, unless you can find an excuse to, go visit the city for something else, aside from Free RPG Day and filling up your gas tank. Alzi says, they're running Numenera and some other cool stuff. Mike says, well, in the next 2 weeks, I'll be waiting for a call letting me know I'll be shipped to basic training, so RPG Day for me is a maybe. Oh. GM Vault. If their skill's high enough, I don't even need them to roll. They just do the thing and get the knowledge. Ivalon says, I meant the skill numbers. Your way makes sense to me. GM's... Oh, gotcha. All right, I'm sorry, because I haven't opened up GM's... sheet on the Discord. Oh, and GM, you can't go to Free RPG Day either? Oh, no. And I guess Ivalon, if he does it that way, that might make sense as he's explaining, because passive perception's a thing, and even the PHB calls out passive investigation, if only by a feat. But there could be a lot of passive survival, passive medicine, things along these lines. And so if GM Vault sees that, I don't know, if he's running this party and who has medicine, Samsei has medicine, and he's really gone out for it. In fact, if we take a look here, Samsei's medicine is a 6. So if Samsei's pilot goes over to a character and says, "I stabilize the character," GM Vault. Now this is my take on it. GM, if you do it differently, let me know. You might just go and look and say, "Look, if Samsei's doing it, congratulations. I don't need you to roll. Let's keep moving. You auto stabilize because your skill is so high." Pat says being passive makes a boring game. Make it active. Well, at the same time though, move 5 feet, roll perception. Move 5 feet, roll perception. Move 5 feet, roll perception. Did I find any traps yet? No. Move 5 feet, roll perception. Alzi, I try to make players roll when possible because people enjoy the sensation. Giving the illusion of agency is important. Yep, that's a very good consideration too, Alzi. Ivlon, I only make my players roll if the chance of failure is interesting or if they roll without me asking for a roll. Then they have to take the roll. Pat goes with Ivlon's theory. Ivlon, I'd have him auto-stabilize if there's nothing interesting about his failing, other than the character dying, or if they're going to keep rolling. See, this is why I really enjoy you all having these discussions, because there's so many of us with different play styles, different ways to run a campaign, and just overall, philosophies, personal experience. And someone may bring up a style that you say, I don't like that. It doesn't mean that that person's style's bad, because you run it your own signature way. Or you say, oh, you know what, I like that. Maybe not the whole thing, but I'll carve out a portion and I'll include that now into how I run the game. And you know what? After 6 months, you might even say, yeah, I should probably get this other portion. And now you've incorporated the entire this entire other thought that someone shared. And so that's the beauty of this medium that we're engaged in right now. We have old players and young players. And I just don't mean chronological age. I mean how long you've been playing or running. We're swapping ideas and experiences, and it is, it's amazing. You all are, you're something else. Ivlon says you can roll ad infinitum for medicine checks to stabilize. So unless there are consequences, just give it to them. Okay, so here we can see where the party's we're sumping all right. Hey, Dorgrim. Now, this is another portion of the sheet that is almost like a party background. If we go with what Alzi had mentioned and just leave it out to say, let's let the party form naturally, then even us as PCs right now, we're wearing our PC hats, even us as PCs might say, oh, unless the campaign calls for it, maybe we're just going to come together in some other way. Maybe we don't need a backstory for our party. Unless for some reason, I don't know, you're a caravan traveling together, or however you want to go about it. So this is good storytelling exercise. How would we know each other? How would we have these charlatans and these sages and an outlander? This sounds like coming this fall is going to be the next big sitcom here. But how do we have characters here? Look, we have a pilgrim outlander. We have a charlatan who works her way into people's emotions and then uses them for money. We have a sage who's a discredited academic, and we were kind of hypothesizing that was the case because he stumbled across this ancient way. He took this vow of ancients, and that excluded him from society and from the norm. Meanwhile, too, we have another sage who's a researcher. And what does she research? What is she looking up? Is she actually a colleague or a former colleague here of Judge Boot? Now, in this case, because she was a bit of an interesting character, she's a totem warrior barbarian with a sage researcher background. So in this case, it's almost It's almost a yin-yang with these characters. We have someone who has grown up, because she's young. What was she? 15, 13. You know, she grew up as kind of like adopted by a barbarian tribe. Maybe her parents were killed by barbarians and they took the child because that was their code. You know, it's kind of like a 7 of 9 kind of ordeal, like in Star Trek Voyager. So we took someone who was being raised by literate parents and was taught methodology and how to do this when she was younger. And now she's been drinking her milk. I'll tell you what, if you look at her physical stats here. And so she is she then grew up and became this barbarian. Now but she still researches, she studies. That's her totems. She studies the effects that animals have on her and on other people. And by the way, this should be interesting to point out. I sold my soul for knowledge. I hope to do great deeds to get it back. This was randomly rolled. Now if we look at our other sage, this sage also sold his soul for knowledge. So Ivlon, I'm kind of giving you fodder here for why we should include ideals, bonds, and everything, because this can help bring the party together. Maybe the same entity has been addressing sages and, you know, corrupting them or influencing them. Maybe the oath of the ancients, right? This fey or this animalistic, this very natural power is something similar. And so maybe a fey made a bargain with this young woman and is infusing her with this, you know, these animalistic traits. And so this is how she sold her soul as well. Bonds with other PCs are a must. Well, yeah, because you don't want to have disparate elements. Although, hang on, I think I gotta go back a little bit more. Alzy, this chat always feels like we're a bunch of grandmas discussing our family recipes at the local potluck. Kind of. Oh, no, you have to use 3 bay leaves in your stew. What are you talking about? Alzy, you only use 2 bay leaves? Oh my goodness. And I bet you use the small ones because you think they're more potent. Oh, well, phooey to you. That's right. I said phooey. Dorgrim waves. Ivlon, not really. There's no consequence for failing a medicine check. It doesn't cause a death saving throw to fail. Pat says, I had many games implode without the PCs knowing at least one of the other PCs. Mike, the Canadian, wait, it doesn't. I've always thought it did. Ivlon agrees. Coffee Cat, in my campaign, our whole party was pulled together in the national draft of the military of the country they live in. That's a good hook, and that's what I used in my very first campaign. Kind of. That's a story in itself, Coffee Cat. That's where Ivlon says bonds with PCs are a must. GM Vault. I also use the party sheet when designing encounters. If I want to set a trap or include a monster, I'll do a quick check to see that it's possible for a PC to have a chance to overcome it. Ivlon then goes, this researcher's premise is wrong. It makes Inanna angry. Inanna refute. Pat, I usually ask the players to pick one of the other PCs that their character knows or knows of, and another one that they trust and why. That's a very good technique, Pat. Ivlon can get behind that methodology, says Ivlon. Pat, it also works if they share an NPC. Yeah, you can use NPCs to bond as well. Inanna questioned validity of statistics due to insufficient population size or N size. Inanna think. Inanna not sure. She suddenly rages as she goes into peer review. Or that's what her rage is called peer review. Dorgrim says that Ivlon, you can't roll ad infinitum. You only have a few chances to succeed on a medicine check in order to stabilize. If you don't, the target could die. By extension, if you fail to stabilize through medicine checks with no other ways to stabilize, then the target could die. Thus, death is a consequence of failing medicine checks. Pat replies, yup. Correlation does not equal causation. Just because you can fail death saving throws doesn't mean that failing checks are the same thing. Rytel is on Team 3 Bay Leaves. That's right. You know she's getting serious, Evelyn, when she actually puts her glasses on. And of course, you know, so Evelyn, what you can do is you can, she's like a dual wielding barbarian. And so she actually has like two warhammers, and one is correlation and the other is causation. And she just browbeats these concepts into people when she peer reviews. Keep her away from Twitter, says Pat. Mike says, unless you go in and home rule it, peer review should be the name of her greatsword. Yeah, there we go. We're starting to name everything. Or her greatsword is named Empirical Evidence. How about that, Game Master Vault? Alzy, I won't have a filthy 3-leafer in my house. It's 2 baby bay leaves or nothing. So yeah, you know, maybe I can put this in how do we know each other, Ivalon and others. I can put in this section, if we don't want to type out paragraphs as like a backstory, we can use this area as a way to compare personality traits and all of that. She doesn't have to dual wield because correlation doesn't imply causation. Oh, so she actually just wields one at a time and she never uses both. If she dual wields hammers, then they could be called truth and consequences. Her bow is action, her arrow is reaction. Now, something else that I do recommend doing, even if it's only just like on the surface, just for a little bit here, I would recommend making a SWOT report on your group or on whatever you're examining. SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to the party. Opportunities and threats are external to the party. In business terms, you want to set up a lemonade stand in the summer. Your strength is, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're able to get lemonade packets really cheap. And, you know, for whatever reason. Your strength is you're a cute little girl who made up a little booth to set out on the sidewalk. You know, lemonade, and like the L is backwards, you know, 5 cents. And so you have this intrinsic, you know, this strength. You know, the weakness, weakness in this case could be if she's, if she's a kid, this is her first attempt at selling lemonade or something. She might not know how to bargain, or, I don't know, a weakness could be, she doesn't reinvest her money back into her business because she wants to spend it on Legos or something. Now, opportunities would be, it's summertime, right? She can't control the seasons. And if she can, then, I mean, she's an X-Man or something. She can't control the seasons. So the opportunity for her is, look, it's summertime. It's hot. This is an opportunity to sell. There are opportunities because maybe she lives in a city or in a suburb and where, you know, there's high foot traffic. So these are opportunities. She can't control the traffic, but it's something that could be intrinsically around. Now, a threat to her lemonade stand would be it rains solid for a week and no one goes outside. There's no foot traffic, or we get a little bit of like a cold day. And so people don't want cold lemonade, or it's super hot and humid. And so people may not want lemonade if they're just like sweating profusely. Those are threats. Deity PubMed. Eltron, give her twin swords called Facts and Figures. I thought you were watching the GM to SWAT their players and get the police on it. No. Mike says logic and reason. Alzy, her arch enemy, the straw man. You know, we had an assassins guild in my homebrew campaign that was named the straw men, and it was very interesting. They came about, actually. when the son of a PC who is like a lawful evil, he created kind of a second chance mercenary group. Like if you're in prison and you swore a vow to follow him, he will pardon you. But if you make any transgressions, then your life was on the line. Well, anyway, he had a son, and so the son was growing up in this environment of learning from all the mercenaries and the knowledge and whatnot that comes and goes. And one of the other players went out to teach the son behind the father's back how to do things like throw knives and get in combat, because the PC didn't really want his son to grow up in the same way that he did. And so of course in this fort they have a bunch of practice dummies, and so some of them were made of straw. They were straw men, right? Because you know where to plunge the dagger, or you know how it feels to chop a head off, kind of a thing. Well, the campaign ended, and time fast forwards. The son started an assassin's guild, and from this humble origin, he called this assassin's guild, or a rogues guild that did wet work. It's kind of 6 to 1 half dozen of the other. He called this guild the Strawmen. Now, what's very interesting is there was a period in time then between the campaigns where the original thieves guild called the Ladies and Gentlemen. The Ladies and Gentlemen were operating. Now we have this young upstart who's creating this rival thieves guild named the Strawmen. And it turned into almost a cold war between the thief factions. And what ended up happening is a lot of these thieves infiltrated libraries and and seminary schools and things along these lines. And what they did, they murdered each other, but it was never like overt, like Gangs of New York style. And maybe a couple of them, but not too many. What they would do is they would go in and they would alter history. They would provide conflicting reports. They would put strawmen in, if you're getting the symbolism here, which kind of grew out of the fact that they were trained on strawmen to just assassinate. Well, here we're inserting the strawmen into these philosophies, into religions, into history books themselves. We're putting strawmen into the courts of rulers. And that was an interesting time. Oh yeah, Pat, for right. It is summer, and you get like a lot of those car washes and stuff around. So, well, Alzi, anyway, thank you for resurrecting that memory. It's always nice to know. That was a 4th edition campaign also. So if we look at this party, in fact, if we maximize this will be a little easier. Let's look at a couple strengths. What are some strengths of ours? We are very good at... we should have fairly good party cohesion due to alignment. If we look also, we have a weakness in Dex, a weakness in Con, a weakness in Charisma, a weakness in Wisdom, and one in Intelligence. I mean Strength and Int. But we can call this a strength in that our weaknesses are spread out among the abilities. That way we're all not, Dex dump party, where a fireball is for sure going to roast us. A cart wash? As in, what, you like go to your local Sam's Club or something and they're washing your cart? And by the way, if you wish to highlight different strengths, for instance, if you go and you let's just highlight the strongest trait in each of the characters. All right, now here it's 2 16s, and that's fine. We have a 19 over here. And we have a 15 over here. You can see where people are also going to specialize. You know, so we have strengths. We don't have someone who's like super awesome dex, but we have a lot of fairly okay dex people. But if you want to put here in a weakness, since we're looking at everything, no one strong dex character. Mental save, mental save, mental... All right, so our strength up here is mental saves. Therefore, a weakness, physical saves. It doesn't always have to be opposites. Just because you populate something in strength doesn't mean there's an intrinsic weakness on the other side. D&D setting has no cars. Oh, carts. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so... Okay, so the character's doing a... Gotcha. Gotcha. If we look at strengths... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7 of the skills? I don't know if... This is your call, right? If you were doing this at home with a party or with your DM... Would you call 7 skills that have redundant proficiencies a strength? You know, if you want to compare that to all of the, you know, all of this, what for sure is a strength. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 15 skills have at least 1 proficiency. Coming down here, I mean, could you put there's 3 skills without as a weakness? I suppose. But look, will every party have, you know, have full coverage? I don't know. But what you might consider for a weakness, 2 of the 3 dex skills have no proficiencies. Especially if you look down here, you know, yeah, there's no one who's like really good at performance, but we have a lot of solid charisma numbers up here, except for Samsei. But if you look also, can you pull off, instead of performance, deception, intimidation, or persuasion? Can you try and cover that weakness in some way? Yeah, I mean, it's... this is the above averages. That's their... that's their team name. We're the above averages. Delcorin, guacamole is my weakness. It's as bad as kryptonite. Same color, too. Coincidence? I think not. As for a strength in the party, I think we're going to have a great language spread. Including you know, a secret language of Druidic. And with people who are charlatans and can get extra languages, you might even be able to go, pretty please. Or the Roger Rabbit, he does like the pretty please. To your DM and say, can I please take Thieves' Cant? Bat, bat, bat. Down with the avocado. Guac is evil, says Delcorin. Yeah, in fact, not all, this is the disclaimer, especially some birds, and I think horses, have bad reactions to guacamole. But, or like to avocados. Definitely check. You know, don't just give your animal whatever. But for some other animals, it is a very healthy food. Yes, Roger. There are no stealth proficiencies in the party. No need to be Haas about it. Now, a weakness could be a lack of tool proficiencies. I mean, we have an herbalism kit, but we have a disguise and a forgery. We have a lack of artisan, and look, one person's proficient with an instrument. Lack of artisan instrument proficiencies. The disguise and forgery can help, but there's no thieves tools, which, by the way, and thieves tools. And we can go on and we can, you know, really kind of plumb the depths. For instance, if we look, we have melee, we have melee, we have melee, and we have, so we have 3 melees. We don't really have a non-magic ranged. If you want to put that here, we have a lack of non-magic ranged combat. Now, what are some opportunities, besides a cart wash that we're talking about? What's an opportunity for the party? What's something that they can really shine at if the world presents the opportunity to them? Again, this is something the party cannot control, but it is a situation in which the party can really shine. Just like our example of the, you know, the business example, this is like the little girl this summer opening up her lemonade stand. An opportunity is the season. Is the hot weather that tends to make people want to buy lemonade and cold drinks. Having at least one noble can sometimes be helpful. Well, yeah, so all the different backgrounds, we have 2 sages, we have 2 charlatans, and an outlander. Now, Roger, all of these characters were completely randomly generated. So that part is a little bit out of our hands. So what can we do if these are the characters that we made? We're wearing our PC hats right now. If these are the characters we made, what are the opportunities then? Kill rats in the basement, caravan guides. Well, I think, you know, as kind of on the line of caravan guides, an opportunity would be strength-based work. Look at this. This is a group of swole people right here. They're just too strong. 17, 16, 14, 19, and even Omark is normal. He has normal strength. So any sort of strength-based work would be great. Yes, Samsei's the only one who has proficiency in athletics. But that doesn't mean that he can't have help from everyone else who has muscles. They just haven't, you know, athletically tuned themselves. You're thinking treasure hunters, Pat? What is leading you to treasure hunting as an opportunity? Opportunities, great against magical foes. And I say that because we have a pretty good mix of magical people here, right? We have a wizard, we have a druid, and then the paladin, because he took Oath of the Ancients, will actually get some magic damage reduction aura going on. And if you look at all the mental saves that this party has. Wiz charisma, int wisdom. You know, only Inanna, the barbarian sage, might succumb to being mind controlled. Or it'll be easier to dominate her. It'll be easier to I don't know, like put her to sleep or you know, do any of these mental saves against magic. But you know what? Because she rages. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's berserk. That gives her that. I think the berserker means that you can't have your mind influenced. Yeah. Well, even though she's gone totem, you get what I'm saying. So opportunities, any magical foes, or unraveling magical mysteries. They are going to be a very social, right? They have the above average charisma. And if you look down here, yes, they don't have performance. So maybe, broadcasting to an audience isn't their thing, but they can deceive, they can intimidate, and, if Boot's around, he has the persuasion. Mind Flayers will think they're delicious. Yeah, if we look here, 14, 14, 16, 14, 10. There's a lot of brain matter, and if you even look, this 10 belongs to a Barbarian. She's not dumb. She's average, but... You're seeing like the Lara Croft stuff, they have this strength and knowledge mix. If we look as well, what can help make them even more social, look, we have 2 charlatans and we have 2 sages. So this is a very brainy party in terms of fluffy background and in terms of crunch and mechanics. Now, if we look at something like threats, what are aspects to a game world, a module, or a campaign that this party cannot control for that would threaten them? Well, if we, a Mind Flayer could be something, right? Let's say that Inanna has her mind taken over, and she's suddenly the Barbarian beating down the wizard and everyone else. Although, in all natural, or in all factual, naturalness here, we rolled up a a muscle wizard. This guy's actually really swole and can fight in combat. Evil organizations in general might be gunning for them. Well, so yeah, I mean, there's a villainous concept, but what would be a condition? What would be a particular threat, Roger, that this party would have difficulty overcoming? And again, if we look here, maybe disarming, maybe even finding traps. Omark is the only one with a decent perception. Right? There's no Thieves' Tool use in this party. Ivallon, I cast Fist. A political figure takes hatreds toward them. In a broad sense, though, Pat. But what is the specific threat? These are excellent adventure hooks, and these are excellent villainous concepts. But what if we're sitting down and we're saying, "All right, guys, come on, huddle. Let's come on, bring it in. What are we doing? We have to plan for, let's plan for stuff. We realize we have, some chinks in our armor. How do we cover those missing scales or replace the rusted holes in our armor?" King, wandering herds of street performers challenging everyone to a dance-off. I guess that is a very specific threat, King. Roger saying lycanthropes. What is leading you to believe that lycanthropes would be a particular threat, Roger? Does that have to do, and maybe as a lead-in, does it have to do with perhaps a lack of physical saves to ward off poison and disease? For sure, Pat. I mean, so finding disarming traps and sneaking. Vulnerable to poisons, diseases, and other effects that require physical saves. Being poisoned, being pushed off a cliff by a gust of wind, whether it's magical or natural. They're not very good at making physical saves. So in this case, if we consider like mummy rot or lycanthropy, like what you're talking about, Roger, and if you're playing this character, well, maybe with the exception of Inanna, if a werewolf bites her arm, she just like looks and like squeezes the saliva back out of the wound by flexing her arm. Yeah, only one character with perception. So really, like, any thiefy work, any sneaky work, is going to be more difficult. It's not off the table, but it'll be a lot more difficult for them to do. Yeah, silver weapons and particular spells, Roger, those are things to consider. But those are more specifics that will occur over the course of the campaign. This is more of, in the world, this is what happens. Let's say, I don't know, let's say a threat is, if we filled in all of the languages that the other characters could have learned. And for whatever reason, we chose, like, a lot of them were really redundant. And no one can speak Infernal, right? And we have some major tiefling NPCs or a villain. That could be a threat. You know, a threat would be lack of X language in a region that mostly requires it. Only one persuasionist, easy to put other characters into diplomatically compromising positions. Yep, there's no thieves' cant. So really, we didn't roll any thieves, or, we have charlatans. And again, as a PC, you can go to your DM and be like, "Hey, Miss or Mr. DM, can I please take thieves' cant as one of my languages?" Or, can I sacrifice something to be proficient in something else on the character? In fact, if we go over here, where are you? Was it our last one? Our Hill Dwarf. We were talking about how Judge Boot Brandeck here, if you play a dwarf, dwarves intrinsically give you, they list 3 different artisan tools in the character creation aspect by virtue of being a dwarf. You can go and talk to your DM and say, "Oh, can I, replace this with, I'm a cobbler. I want to make boots for my people." Well, in this case, I don't know, instead of being a discredited academic, what if this was a charlatan character or an urchin? Well, an urchin would give it to you. And you said, "Well, can I use my dwarven artisan tool slot and take thieves' tools proficiency because it fits my character?" Pitch that to your DM and it'll be what it'll be. Have the, I don't say arguments like argumentative, but have those arguments. Talk about it. There's only one that has the investigation skill also. Finding clues would be harder. Yep, Pat. Through mundane means. Magically, look, magic is magic, and they're pretty solid there. But physical stealth, physical investigation, a lot of physical, like mundane stuff, mundane physicality, they may not be the best at. There we go. Just learn a spell that lets you breathe underwater and then do underwater crimes. No one ever cares about underwater crimes, right? Because who patrols that? That's why if you live in a city, that has like canals for streets or something, you got to watch out. You get some corrupt druids going through, maybe some Sahagin or Kuotoa, and suddenly more than stray cats and dogs go missing off the streets. Soon you told Billy to come back home before the lamplighters made their way down the street. Billy hasn't been home yet. What happened to Billy? Roger Twice says SpongeBob cares. Okay, so here, this is the concept, right? Yep, and Dorgrim, by the way, that is always an opportunity, right? Get a hireling, buy information, or bribe people if you really wanted to. Yeah, hopefully, Pat, they stay out of prison, because that would be difficult for them to do. Whether they were jailed for their own actions or because, insert evil tyrants, dictate here. So this is the This is the concept of the party, and I hope that this exercise has been refreshing for you. And look, for all of you who don't even know these characters, maybe you weren't, you know, familiar with them as we've been making them randomly over the course of the week. Hopefully this stimulated your thought. Hopefully this really got your, you know, it got you thinking. What would a party in this situation have or not have? What would we have to be worried about? Maybe you know, maybe this is giving you a new outlook or a refreshed outlook on something you've already been practicing. Or you say, I've never done this before, either because I don't normally role play, or, well, I just don't play games that take this into consideration. Maybe I will. Oh, Roger, thank you very much for the follow. Speaking of investigations, someone in this room is a murderer. Is it you? Yeah, or if they're falsely accused. And Pat, you know what? That actually is a part of a background in 5th edition. Someone escaped from being falsely accused, and that could come back to haunt the party. Roger, you're very welcome. This is a little bit different as far as a D&D stream goes, because you'll see many channels broadcast tabletop activity. And at least right now, this is D&D 101. This is a community conversation. This is tips and tricks. This is us sharing stories. And, you know, as newcomers, longtime DMs or players, we can share information and talk and make jokes and really just be a community here. I'm glad that this is interesting to you, Roger. Yeah, it's instructional, it's conversational. Look, you know, we do... this was last night. We were making a dungeon, and this was... I try and do things in a basic manner. This is pen and paper. I just drew out a sketch, and as I was presenting it, I was putting ideas out there for you all. We use MS Paint. In fact, I was using this to accent the dungeon that we were talking about. MS Paint, Open Office, core rulebooks. Try and keep it simple. You know, a lot of you out there are very talented. You know how to navigate Roll20. You may be very proficient with publishing software, Photoshop, map making tools and whatnot. And if you are, then, oh, bless you, because, you know, we need people like you. We can't just have a bunch of scrubby, you know, MS Paint maps. Though what I always hope to do is, even with the simplest tools and ideas, to then provoke a conversation with you and stir thought. Or if there's someone who's a newcomer to our table, if you've never played D&D, or yeah, you're a first timer, or yeah, you've played for a couple weeks, I want you to know that this is not difficult stuff. You don't have to have played for 30 years and have, you know, dusty tomes of you know, books of the past, or map making experience, or, you know, college courses in geography or in architecture in order to present a campaign or to act as a player going through it. You can use these very simple tools. And from here, if one of you really like this idea and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to totally run it, well, you've now seen what we've done in MS Paint, and it's up to you to make it look pretty. Or Ivalon has been a guest DM on the show, and his methodology and approach to running Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition especially, is different than mine. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And all of you out there, look, you may look at me and be like, oh, who's this dude in a hat? Like, what's he talking about? This isn't how I run D&D. That's fair. We do it differently. And exploring those differences makes all of us better off. Yes, conversation provocateur. Yep, you don't need to be a sage of D&D to play or run in D&D. Do you have a couple marbles rolling around up here? You know, do you have a little bit of heart and a little bit of imagination? You can play D&D with the best of them. This is how I run DMC. Now, speaking of the dungeon that we were working on last night, I would like to use this as a springboard for the low-level campaign that we can talk about and form together. though I'm going to be taking about a 10-minute break. I'm going to go get a snack. I'm going to refill my pitcher. As Ivalon says, I'm a big pitcher guy. And so I am. I have only a little bit of lemonade left. So I'm going to go refresh myself. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to talk to my cats like an absolute madman. And I'll come back and let's talk campaign. Let's make some bullet points. Let's put an outline out there. Let's conceive a low-level campaign, a fun adventure to run these characters through, and, well, provoke conversation even more. So, I'll be back soon. Okay, I have returned. Hello, everyone. Open up a fresh bag of chips. I have a nice big pitcher of ice water. Oh, I'm ready to go. And I hope you all are too. Now I just have to appear back on stream. Roger says, a number of years ago I made a document of 1,000 pre-generated PCs. You all might find of interest. You can probably find it on Google. Well, if you have links like that, Roger, you're always free to share. Oh, by the way, I guess I better show back up in front of you all. I'm just having too much fun, munching on these chips. Hello. I brought the snack with me, so I hope you don't mind a little bit of social eating as we plot and plan for a low-level campaign. Now, this is the sheet that GM Vault has provided, and this is what he uses to reference his party. Excellent. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for that link. I opened it up on the side here, and I can provide that for others for reference.